Katie McFarland with me now. Katie, should we restrict or ban China from buying our farmland?
Yeah, it should be a no-brainer. You know, not only, as you point out, is it close to our military bases and the opportunity for surveillance on our military personnel, what's going on at those bases, the military equipment, but it's also a food security issue. That's one of China's big problems. It's historically, for thousands of years, had real problems feeding its people. So why should we let them buy American farmland to fix their problem at our expense? It should be a no-brainer. There should be national legislation. There should be state legislation. They should not be allowed to scoop up American farmland, especially near critical military facilities.
Forgive me, KT, but I have to raise the issue of the balloon. It's intruding onto this week's programming as well as last week. Now, the White House says 3 Chinese balloons flew over the U.S. during the Trump administration. Now, President Trump and former officials say that's absolutely not true. Watch this, please.
Well, it's not true. I can refute it. Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper refuted it yesterday. Former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo has refuted it. Every time something goes wrong in the Biden administration, there's one of 2 responses. They either find a way to blame the Trump administration, or they try and find a way to say the Trump administration did it too. And that's what they're trying to say here. This happened during the Trump administration. It didn't. And you would have heard about it before.
Okay, KT, you worked in the Trump administration. Did you ever hear of these balloons flying around?
No, and in fact, in the last couple of days, most of the senior officials, the State Department, National Security Council, Intelligence Community, Defense Department, we've all been talking to each other. Did you know anything about it? No, I didn't know anything about it. What about you? None of us knew anything about it. So there are only 3 possibilities. You can come to, 3 conclusions here. Either the Defense Department is lying about what happened during the Trump administration to give the Biden administration political coverage. Or number 2, the military, at the time of the Trump administration, they knew about it, but they decided not to let the civilian leadership of all of these departments know about it. Or number 3, they didn't know about it, and they only recently got the technology to figure out that it did happen in previous administrations. All 3 of those are real problems. Either it's incompetence, or it's political compromise, or frankly, it's we don't have the technology, and we've now had the Chinese invade American airspace, and we're not worried about this. I think it's just for $1 trillion a year, we need to have a better military and a better intelligence service fast.
Okay, I won't interrupt that. How do you think China might respond to the shooting down of the balloon? I mean, do you think they'll start buzzing our planes or threatening Taiwan again?
Who cares what they're going to do? Because the real problem is, what are we going to do about it? I mean, this should be a Sputnik moment. We should understand that the Chinese are not to be trusted in any of this. And so what we need to do is increase defense spending, fix our problems in the Asian military. Number 2, increase, probably double American R&D spending. Don't let them buy American farmland. Secure the supply chains. And frankly, understand that this should be a whole of society, whole of government approach to protecting the United States national security now and in the future.
My goodness me, this balloon really has stirred up a hornet's nest, hasn't it? It really has. And it's still making headlines. Yeah. Katie McFarland, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. See you soon.